Hi everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and we are back today with the March Scrawlrbox for the Scrawler Challenge, which is feminine energy. This has been spurred on by two things. Number one, the first idea that came into my head, I haven't been able to get past it and put it out my head. That is something that happens to me a lot, especially when it comes to thinking up ideas. I'm pretty well practiced at doing these off the cuff, so when I have to sit down and think about them, I actually find it more difficult sometimes. The second thing was somebody that I do not know well, and it wasn't on the internet, it was in person, insulted me marginally when I said that I don't like drawing humans and that I don't really like people. They kind of reinforced my point. And they said that I don't draw people because I can't draw people and that I'm just avoiding something that I should really be tackling head on. I have drawn humans in the past. I can draw them. I just choose not to. I find drawing animals much more interesting. Just to basically give them a huge twos up today and shut their smug little faces. Today I'm going to be drawing a human. This is very out of character for me. Normally I am a very peace-loving creature, but do you know that way sometimes I've got a thick skin, but that just rubbed me up the wrong way the other day. So the thing that came into my head that I couldn't get out of my head was Rosie the Riveter. She was literally the poster girl for the women's war effort, basically. She's got like her, she's like posing and it says "we can do it." If you haven't seen that image, I don't know what about copyright here, but if you type in Rosie the Riveter to Google, the image will be everywhere and you'll know them exactly what I'm talking about the minute you see it. So I thought we could maybe do like a bit more of a modern version of that, because that would fit the prompt feminine energy very, very well. The other thing that I really want to do today is this page in the middle of the Scrawler zine. They've kind of done everything that I would normally do. They've kind of robbed me of my job in the unboxing video, testing the the fine liner for smudges and all this kind of stuff. But what I did think was interesting is using this little swatch chart that they've done here with the overlapping colours to create new tints. So I'm going to kind of incorporate that into what I'm doing, because in my mind this lady that I'm going to be drawing today, she's going to have lipstick on, so maybe I can do a variation of, for example, this shade here and get a nice sort of like dark pink plummy lipstick colour, that kind of thing. So I'm going to refer to this once we get to the marker stage. There was a lot of positive responses to this Scrawlrbox, and honestly I didn't expect as many positive responses. This is like a standard classic subscription box combo. The thing is though, I'm not mad about it because it's a really good combination, and I don't know, I just thought more people would be like, oh, we're so sick of seeing stuff like this, and I'm really glad that that's not the opinion, because this is tried and tested and we haven't had a box like this for a while. And more to the point, when we do get a box, it's so nice to get really good quality markers and not cheap, like off-brand markers that no one's heard of. So bravo, Scrawlrbox. First things first, we're in this little square format, so I'm going to have a bit of think about that. And obviously, as someone who doesn't draw people, not that can't draw people, very often I will spend more time on the sketching side of things than I will on the marker side of things, because I can do the marker thing in my sleep. So yeah, this first bit's going to be the challenge for me. Anyway, so let's decide on placement. I've already in my mind, for some reason, this person has a ponytail, so I'll maybe have a head about there, because we're mostly arm, like the majority of the picture is her forearm. Because see, because of positioning as well, her hand's going to look quite big next to her face. I need to be very careful with the proportions, and that's where I'm likely to fall down with this, because again, it's not something I do very often, so there might be a bit of tweaking involved here. And then obviously she's got her other hand over her arm because she's like pulling her sleeve up. Is that right? I might have to look that up actually. I'm sure she's like pulling her sleeve up. She's not like rubbing her arm or anything. Rosie the Riveter. Yeah, she's like, okay, so she's pulling her sleeve up. So that means we're going to have a bit of her hand there, and the rest of her arm's going to be like down here, isn't it? So I've given her a head and I haven't given her a neck, because she's kind of I don't know if I want her head tilted, because if it's tilted too much, it's going to make her look like sarcastic, and we don't really need sarcastic. So let's do that, and then we've got room for a ponytail here. Okay, I don't know how long this ponytail is going to be. I'm making it really long, but it might not end up being that long. Giving her a really manly jaw as well. I don't want a manly jaw. Little cheekbone in there. Whoa! I think I want to give her the headscarf. Like I do think I want it. So that's going to be a little bit of ear and then a lot of headscarf. Because I'm thinking about colours as well. And I think what I'm going to do is obviously I can fashion a skin tone out of this. I was actually hoping to do like a kind of darker skin tone, but I've got to work with what I've got. The other option was to completely flip it and have like purple skin or whatever. Yeah, so that's going to be my skin tone, which is a wee bit yellow, but we'll manage. But I was thinking that we would have green for the shirt and her headband, and then she could have lilac hair, and then I can obviously mix these colours a little bit for her eyes and her lips, kind of thing. That was my thought process behind this. The other thought that I'm having as well is how am I going to include the fine liner in all of this. I actually really like the aesthetic of maybe not the 40s, but definitely the 50s makeup and pop culture that came from it. Okay, let's give her, I kind of want to give her really big eyes, like sort of over dramatic eyes, or just like overstated eyes. Obviously eyebrows are very different now as well. Eyebrows are much fuller. We're verging on Disney territory here, but that's okay. And I can use this to give her I want to give her really heavy eyelashes. Maybe we should give her hoop earrings. Oh, right, okay, let's do the I want to give her like silver hoop earrings, although we don't have, I can use the pencil for that. That's a great idea. There we go. See, full of good ideas today. Right, let's make the collar a little bit less square. Oh, see, this is the part I struggle with, is the weird poses. So those knuckles are going to kind of come down at an angle, but it's going to be very, very slight. And then, well, the pinky one's just weird because that's going to be kind of like curled round. Okay. I kind of want to slim down this top part a little bit. I feel as if I've given her like a proper Arnold Schwarzenegger arm. I do want her to have a beefy arm, but I don't think I want it to be that beefy. But again, this part in here, my hands are quite chubby just now, so me making a fist, that looks very different to the way it would if I was like maybe like 20 pounds lighter. I would have less like folds. It's honestly like, this is one of the many reasons I absolutely can't stand drawing people. Like, why would you put yourself through this? I need to like not square off her thumb so much as well. Like, let's give her a bit more of a delicate thumb. I absolutely detest this part of the hand. Just putting in some knuckle wrinkles because they're really important. They're really important. Okay, do you know what? I'm quite happy with that. That took a lot less time than I thought it would. Obviously you're seeing the edited version, but this sort of sketch part, that took me about half an hour, which is incredible for me. Right, so again, earrings as well. So I want that on the outside of her shirt. I really want you to see that earring, but I want them to be noticeable on both sides. Right, what I want to do now is just block in some colour. My issue with this is I am a very sketchy person. I like a lot of broken lines, and I actually quite like to leave my sketch lines sometimes. And that is a characteristic of my drawing that has developed because I have issues with my hand. I find it very, very difficult to draw steady, smooth lines. So when I've sketched, I've always done that, and I kind of like to leave it behind as a reminder. The problem is this will look really untidy because when obviously these markers are quite transparent, you will be able to see these pencil lines through there, and I don't want to leave that much of my sketch behind. I might just outline the whole thing, honestly. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about this yet, but what I do want to do is I want to lighten up some of these sketch lines as much as I can. When I'm doing the hair, obviously I want to go in the direction of her hair flow, and using the brush tip for this part's amazing. So what we need to do now is build up the colour at the crown, because hair by nature is always darker at the crown, regardless of whether it's violet or not. So I just want to spend a bit of time here. If I just sort of shuggle you over to here, you can see what happens when you cross over the green and the purple colour. You get much, much darker, although these are green shades, you get much, much darker incarnations of these pens. So it might be nice just to add in a little bit here. I also want to tackle the bangs before I do the headband, because there's areas where there's going to be quite a lot of overlaps. So I'm just going back over the green now. I'm kind of at saturation point with this paper, honestly. Just to sort of dull it down because it was standing out a bit too much there, but you can see it's giving me a much darker area in the top part of the ponytail, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm quite happy with the way the fringe area is going to now. Okay, so we're going to move on to the headband now. Oh, look, we've got an ear. How exciting. And a bit of her face. I've actually cut into a little bit of her neck too much there, but that's going to look slightly odd, but there's not much I can do about it now. Eyes. I actually just want a layer of this skin tone down. Okay, so I'm going to put the eyes in now. I'm going to do these features and let this dry. That's dry now. We know from the magazine here, the smudge test, so we're safe. These are the in fashion eyebrows now, as you can see. So now I want nice thick lines. Oh, we're smudging. Wow. Oh, we've got a bit of smudge there. That's disappointing. I've just run that pen down the side of the eye there, and it has smudged like a lot. Oh wow, it's all over my fine liner. It's all over my marker. Oh jeez, it's bad chat. So now I've got a great big dirty line on her neck. Smashing. I was going to make it much darker. I wasn't going to include the fine liner in it though, you know. I'm really scared to colour her eyes now. Like this is the thing. That's kind of annoyed me rather a lot actually. A lot more than I would care to admit. I feel like this eye's slightly off as well. Okay, I'm not mad at the lip actually. They're a little bit bigger than what I was anticipating, but then again, so are our eyes, and we still have to. I still have to contour her nose properly because I've not really done that honestly. I don't actually want to put the nostrils in fine liner. I have a thing about nostrils, like they weird me out, and the more I look at them, the weirder they get. So I'm going to try and just keep her. Even at that, like that nostril's too nostrily. Maybe I should elongate it slightly. That looks as if it's just going to sit on top there, and if it is, I'm going to be annoyed about that too. I'm going to end up outlining this entire picture, like I can see it coming. I kind of don't want to do her hair though. When I was doing the lips, I was trying to create this colour here, and it really hasn't gone according to plan. This looks a lot pinker. Now, obviously, you have to take into account printing. This is going to look different just because of the way printers spit out colours. No matter how accurate they try and get it, that is going to be a thing. It's kind of like a happy accident, I think. I'm not getting on well with this fine liner at all. I feel as if it's sitting on top of the paper, and I'm trying not to press hard with it, but the ink's just not happy on top of all the alcohol ink, like that's acting as a resist almost. That is so weird. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Probably not actually. It's like resting on top of the paper. I'll leave it to dry and see what it looks like. It might not be the end of the world. I was going to try and employ like a broken line, you know, not a full outline, especially for areas in the face, because I feel as if our features are just going to like disappear into the background. There's every chance of that. I might still do that, but that is a huge risk for me at this point because this is not my medium, nor is it my subject matter. So you know what I'm like, I like to throw myself in and make it as difficult as possible for myself. Absolutely 100%. Oh, you guys, I can't honestly. Like I can't. Yeah, I'm finding the paper is very, very... I don't know if there's such a thing as too smooth, honestly. This part here, for example, I want to fill in some of the gaps here, but if I do, it's just going to darken it down. And that's not really what I want. Like, I feel as if the ink is sitting on the paper almost a little bit too much. Especially, like, I really wanted some nice highlighted cheek areas here. And I'm not feeling like that's happening. I'm also... This is the other thing as well. I don't know if it's just on this paper, but putting alcohol marker on top of this liner is smudging it. I've just done it again in the corner of the eye. So I don't know what they're trying to achieve here, because they say they've done a smudge test, wet and dry, but what have they put down first? Have they put down the marker first and gone over it? Because that looks like what they've done, but this is a lie. This is an absolute lie. So I'm not very happy. Anyway, we'll just have to get on with it. Actually quite prominent darker lines down here. You know, I want that to be fairly obvious, because I want to be able to show off the, like, you know, where And again, I might just put a wee bit of purple over the top of that, you know, to go to this sort of more the lip direction. Because like elbow joints as well, like see, because you've got dimples in your elbows, they're really, really weird, like super weird to draw or colour. And that was kind of that, see that little triangle there, that's a happy accident, and I'm totally just going to leave that as is. I'm loving the texture and everything I've got on her arm here, but I feel that the black around the eyes and the headband is really jarring, so I think I'm going to do a little bit of broken line outlining, especially since this is a really thick fine liner. I might try with the pencil, I'll wait and see how I feel about that. But yeah, like I'm actually quite happy so far, like so far so good-ish. Let's try around the outside of her face. I've just completely smudged her nose and ruined her entire nose. Oh, I wonder if I can... Yes! I'm actually using the smudginess of this fine liner to my advantage. I don't think I'm going to be able to rescue this, but I'm going to try and smooth it out as much as possible. Oh my god, I'm so angry right now. Okay, so my camera went off and everything all at the same time there. Oh, it's a bit of a disaster. I have tried to rescue this as best I can. I've not done a great job, but what I have done is I have used this this mallow colour to put in some darker areas on the skin in her face, because I've had to keep layering up the skin tone to fix the smudges and everything. It's not perfect. I don't know what I'm going to do with this lip, because there's a smudge on the lip as well. I don't know if I can smudge that out without... The lesson that we are learning here from this exercise is that this alcohol marker will 100% take out your fine liner if the fine liner is already on top of alcohol, because alcohol dilutes alcohol unless you're drinking it. Someone's pointed that out to me. So this can be used to our advantage, but also it's to our disadvantage. So in order to keep things consistent, I'm going to have to add in a little bit of this and blend it in as well. Yeah, see, that looks okay. That looks good. That's the way it's supposed to work. I'm really, really upset about this, because that was going really well. Now our nose looks as if it's like bent to the side, but it was the only thing I could do to rescue what was going on there, so you know. But anyway, we can still carry on, we can still do what we need to do here. This is not a problem. Again, this isn't going to work very well though, because we've just established that this fine liner doesn't really like the alcohol marker. That's had a long time to dry though, and yet it's still doing it. I'm trying my hardest not to touch the fine liner here, but it is leaking in. I had almost a passable human there for a period of time, and I was actually quite pleased with where it was going, and now our face is a mess. It looks as if she's done a really bad makeup job. I have got ink splatters everywhere down the bottom. It's so weird. In here is going to be really dark. Again, might blend this with some purple just to knock that home. And then this is curving round from the back here. Right, there was a splatter on the collar there. There is a fine liner splatter, and I've almost managed to obliterate it completely, and that was supposed to be dry fine liner. So you tell me, guys, you tell me. And I'm just like indicating my creases there. That's where I want my creases to be. So what I then want to do is put them in. I'll maybe have a 1 or 2 there. So that's like a bit of the outline. There we go, blend that out a little bit. And I'm going to leave that to dry, and I'm just going to try and... Oh, this is dangerous. Dangerous. And again, in that there. So that's given me the differentiation between the collar and the rest of the shirt, and also this shoulder part here. So we'll just blend that out. Hopefully. Just give her like a bit of shape without actually giving her any shape. A bit of shadow under there as well. Okay, that's better. I'm a bit happier there. Good stuff. I have to deal with this other elbow, which I had no intentions of being in the original piece. It's going to be quite dark. Oh, I just don't like this at all. Like, I feel as if I'm just going to ruin things without meaning to. So let's just get that elbow in there. So that now you can see that she looks as if she's got an entire arm, which is great. It's always good to look as if you have an entire arm, you know. Let's just put some of that in there. Again, because it's in the shadow of our other elbow, and it seems to me that the light source is coming somewhere from the top right, or possibly front right, you know, closer to us, the viewer. Right, there we go. I am not going to mess about and overwork that, because this, my friends, this part in here, this is how Gem ruins things that she's out of her depth with. And I do mention it quite frequently, and I know it's a bit of a joke at the end of a video when I keep picking, you know, paintbrushes back up and stuff, but this is like a surefire way, especially if you're in unfamiliar territory like I am right now, surefire way to ruin what you've done so far. Like, don't take it too far unless you're absolutely 100% sure. There's a phrase my grandmother, God rest her soul, used to use, and she said you could tear the back out of anything, and what she means is you could take things so far that you ruin things with absolutely anything that you try to apply to your life. She's absolutely right. Right, okay, so I'm just going to leave that to dry. The last thing I need to do is I need to put a little bit of a collar here in this back side, because obviously the collar is non-existent, and that's going to be really light, so I'm just going to very gently, like so gently, that's it. And just a tiny sliver, because we're not going to be able to see much of that there. Again, it's more the suggestion than anything else. I'm not really that bothered about what it is, to be honest. Right, okay. Before I touch this with a fine liner, I'm going to let this dry. So I'm just going to give this a couple of minutes and I'll be back. I'm trying really hard not to touch anything other than what's going on. Oh, like, don't make me ruin it accidentally. I don't want to touch this hand either. Like, I feel as if I'm going to ruin her hands here, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I have literally just touched her ponytail again and smudged all of those little black lines I've put in. I'm actually just like, I've had enough. I was finished there. I was actually finished and I've ruined it again. Look at the side of my hand. I can't deal anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. It's cheesed me off no end. After managing to smooth out her face and everything, like, this is just... I wish I'd never touched this fine liner full stop. Like, I really do. I don't think I can clean this up anymore. Look, it's just taking the entire fine liner with it. See, this actually needs more shadow down here as well, and I can't do it because I've already ruined enough of the picture. Let's sign it in the bottom corner with this fine liner and then never touch it again. Okay guys, that is it for today. I am very curious now. See, this is me. See, because I've zoomed out and I can see this needs a lot more shadow in it. I can maybe get that little spot in there. Avoiding the fine liner, I'm not touching it, I promise. Right, okay, first things first, guys, I would like to know if any of you experienced this in a similar fashion, or whether all of you went the traditional route of putting your fine liner down first. Obviously, because I was unsure, that's better, of whether or not I was using the fine liner is why I didn't put it down first. I assumed I had given it ample time to dry. Because this paper is so smooth though, the absorbency of the paper didn't seem to be that great, which is what you want for alcohol markers because you want time to blend them. So it's kind of one of those ones where it's not a bad thing. It's not, oh, I forgot about her earrings. Right, okay, oh my god, how am I going to do this? I can't even see where her earrings were. Oh yeah, I can. Okay, right, I've got my line. Can't stop touching her hair. Yeah, so I'm really curious to hear whether or not you had the same problem, whether you managed to avoid it completely because you planned out a lot better than me, or anything in between for that matter. So because of my experience, I am 100% on the fence about this combination of supplies, not necessarily the supplies themselves, because as I mentioned before, I really like Art Gecko paper. I really like Copic markers. In fact, it's the only, oh my goodness, that was the wrong colour. It is the only alcohol-based marker that I will use if I have to use them. Yeah, and that just leaves the Staedtler fine liner, which quite frankly, I would be happy to never see ever again. Now, the other thing as well is I have been absolutely hammering this paper with these markers, and I would just like to turn this over and show you the back. Minimal bleed through and not a drop on the page. So the Art Gecko paper is good paper, and I don't want anyone to think that it's not. I just don't like it in conjunction with these supplies. So that is my verdict on this, and also I'd like to give a big up yours to the person that said I can't draw people. I absolutely can draw people, I just choose not to. Yeah, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this box, whether you had the same problems as I did as not. Did you find this little chart helpful? Because I did. I found this completely unhelpful. And that is it for feminine energy, guys. I want to thank you very much, very, very much actually, for coming and hanging out with me today. This is probably going to be my last stress-free video before Jock goes for his surgery. There are a few bits and bobs in the stash shop today, which is going to include these Copic markers, because I already have these colours in the sketch markers, so they will be up for grabs with another couple of the Chal markers that have just been left behind. So you can head over to the stash shop and you can check out some of the used bits and pieces that are up for sale there too. The link to the website is down in the description. And if you've made it this far, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. A like would be marvellous. And I'll see you back in the cave probably next Sunday for another video. And obviously I'll give you an update on how Jock is doing as well. So have a great day, everyone, and bye bye for now.